If you look at your sheet, you will see that sine is already sine, so we leave him alone. And cotangent is cosine over sine. Everybody understand that? That equals cosine. And look what happens to the sines. So cosine of x equals cosine of x. I'm done. So if cosecant is 1 over sine, negative cosecant is negative 1 over sine times cosine equals negative cotangent of x. Well, this is equal to negative cosine of x over sine of x, right? And what is cosine over sine?
It is
cotangent. So that's negative cotangent of x equals negative cotangent of x. Tangent is sine over cosine. Cosine you leave alone because it's already cosine. And secant is 1 over cosine. I want you to look at that and see that I converted this to this, and I converted this to this. Now, this is where most people have a minor heart attack or stroke, because you see all this stuff and it just looks like I'm never going to get out of the woods, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to cover up that 1 over cosine. Everybody do that? I'm doing it on my screen, but you can't see me doing it. And just look at the top fraction. The top fraction has a cosine of x downstairs and a 1 downstairs. Everybody see it? So I need to make that a common denominator. So I'm going to put a cosine of x here and a cosine of x upstairs. So that turns into square now. All right? Now, the top turns into, don't look at the bottom yet. The top turns into one fraction. It's called sine of x plus cosine squared of x over cosine of x, right? I combined them into one fraction. Always do that before you move on. Now you're dividing that. Now you can look at the other fraction, 1 over cosine of x. So when I'm dividing one fraction by another, I put the first guy the way it is. Cosine squared of x over cosine of x. And I multiply it by the reciprocal of the other guy. And since these two cosines are being multiplied, you can cancel one upstairs and one downstairs, and your final answer is sine of x plus cosine squared of x. And oh my gosh, that's the same as there. We've arrived. All right, so I see a secant outside of the parentheses, and all this is in one fraction. So I'm going to FOIL that secant in. Trust me when I tell you that once in a while you're going to do something and it's going to make it uglier and you can't figure out how to get out of it. And if that happens, you just start all over. And that has happened to me. But I think I can see clear on this one. If I FOIL that in, I get secant of x plus secant squared of x, right? Well, the secant is 1 over cosine. And the secant squared is 1 over cosine squared. So next thing is you have to find a common denominator, which is cosine squared. You add the cosine upstairs, and then you add the numerators and the denominators, and we're there.